Welcome to the Ohio Business Gateway. This video is meant to show filing administrators how to add and remove service areas and transactions to a business account. To begin this process, navigate to the Account Access Management page by clicking on the button in the top right-hand corner of the business dashboard. On the Service Areas tab, locate the service area you would like to add to the business account in the Available Service Areas list. Then, add the appropriate service areas to the Authorized Service Areas list by clicking on the plus icon next to each service area you would like to authorize. To remove a service area from the business account, click on the minus button next to the appropriate service area under the Authorized Service Areas column. It is important to note you will only be able to remove service areas from the business account if no user associated with the business account has any permissions related to a transaction within that service area and no transactions within that service area are authorized on the business account. After you've completed authorizing the appropriate service areas, click on the Transaction Types tab. A list of the transactions within the service areas you just authorized will appear under the Available Transaction Types column. Add the appropriate transactions to the Authorized Transaction Types list by clicking on the plus icon next to each transaction you would like to authorize. To remove a transaction from the business account, click on the minus button next to the appropriate transaction under the Authorized Transaction Types column. It is important to note that you will only be able to remove transactions from the business account if no user associated with the business account has any permissions related to the transaction you would like to remove. After the appropriate transactions have been authorized, click on the User Authorization tab. On this tab, you can grant transaction level permissions to the users associated with the business account. This means that you can set the permissions each user has to each transaction authorized on the business account by simply flipping the toggles associated with the appropriate permission level. You can customize the combination of permissions for each individual. However, some levels of permissions require others to be enabled. For example, enabling the Submit permission level for a transaction requires that the Read and Edit permission levels be enabled as well. The entries on this tab are organized by filer account, filer, service area, and transaction type. You can filter the entries using the options in the Refine By box on the left side of the page. For example, to see all of the entries regarding commercial activity tax, check the box next to Commercial Activity Tax in the Refine By box. If you want to quickly see the permissions of a certain user, click the checkbox by the name of that user. Another tool to make viewing and setting user permissions easier is the permission template. You can simply flip the toggles to your desired combination of permissions and click the Copy Permissions button. Now, all the entries in the tab will have the combination of permissions entered in the permission template. After the appropriate combination of permissions has been selected, click on the Save button at either the top or the bottom of the tab to apply the changes to the business account. This completes the tutorial on adding and removing service areas and transactions to a business account in the Gateway.